Okay, Q&A time, so let's get comfy first. I put a question box on my Instagram earlier this week, just to give you guys the opportunity to ask me any questions you wanted me to go over, just get to know me a little bit more, all of that kind of stuff. And I have a list of a few questions that I'm going to go over, so let's jump straight into it. Question number 1, what are my training goals this year? So I've recently started weightlifting. November of 2021 I started, so I'm like 3 months in now and I love it. So my goals this year are based around that massively, but also strength based. So I've kind of come away from the aesthetic side of setting goals. I'm quite happy with my physique, and whether I'm dieting or in a surplus, you know, the range of how my scale weight changes, I'm happy with my physique. So it's just about getting bigger and building muscle and being strong for me. So my main goals are to do with like the big lifts. So I want to squat 100 kilos, bench 60 kilos, deadlift 120 kilos, snatch 40 kilos and clean and jerk 60 kilos. And I set those goals January the 1st of this year, and some of them we're already a lot closer to than what I thought we was going to be. I'm in a strength block at the moment, building up to 1 rep max, so I'm going to be quite excited to see how close to those numbers I am when I do my 1 rep max testing. And I think there's 1 or 2 goals that we might need to tweak and change as we get closer to summer. I also want to get my first unassisted pull-up too. Struggled with it for so long, but since I've got myself my own coach and like I've got a solid training plan, we're making some really good progress with it. So we're hoping that I get my first pull-up way before summer. So yeah, they're my training goals. Strength based for me, all about just being strong, building muscle, and I'm feeling good and feeling confident really. Really like this question. Question number 2 is, what's been the hardest part of your fitness journey so far? For me is definitely, I would say there's 2 big things that stand out for me. So the first one would be finding myself again when I stopped dancing. So I was a competitive Irish dancer for 15 years. I won some major competitions. I was really successful. That was my career, and at some points through my career I had hoped to go professional. I just had an injury with my ankle, with my ligaments in my ankle, and it was something I suffered with for the last like 3-4 years of my competitive career. So I just had to come away from it. It wasn't working, and then I went away to uni, so it was really hard to keep it up. So I made the decision after I won the Irish Open Championships to retire from competitive dancing. So I done that, and then I just felt lost. That was my life. I wouldn't even say, when you're so into sport and you compete at such a high level with anything that you do, it becomes your life. So when I stopped that, I was like, now what do I do? Who am I? What do I do? What do my weekends consist of? What do my evenings consist of? I'm not going to be travelling to Ireland several times a year competing anymore. So now what? What do I do? So that was really where my gym journey started, like picking up more than anything, because I had nothing else. I needed something, and I turned to the gym. I was clueless, but I turned to the gym, and I just started spending a lot of time at the gym, speaking to different people, working on my knowledge, following different accounts and things like that would help me with my knowledge, training with friends who were more experienced than me, and kind of built up my love for training then that way, because I didn't have dancing anymore, so I needed something else. So that was hard in the sense of I just felt lost, and I didn't know who I was, where my goals were going to be, because everything fitness related for me was always dancing based. It was to win the championships, it was to be the best dancer I could be. It was to be the fittest I could be, and everything I done was based around that. So when I no longer had that, I was like, what do I actually want to achieve out of my fitness? Where do I want to go? What do I want to do? So that was really hard from like the mental standpoint. But from a physical standpoint, my back injury, 100%. So in April 2019, I think, around summertime 2019, I injured my back deadlifting. Thought nothing of it, just gave myself a couple of weeks off, went back training, being the idiot that I was, went back into deadlift straight away, trying to lift heavy because I was working towards PBs and I was in a strength block, and I done the exact same thing again, but this time it like put me out. I had like 3 or 4 months out training, and it just still didn't get better. I didn't sleep. I was having like 3-4 hours sleep a night. I was in pain every day, aching every day, shooting pains down my leg, and after about 3 or 4 months I was like, something's not right here. I need to go see someone. I need to figure out what's going on because I need to get better, because I need to get back in the gym. So I went to see a chiropractor, and I found out that I had 2 bulges on 2 different discs in my lumbar spine. So right at the bottom of my back I had a bulge on 2 different discs, which was not ideal. And that was when I was like, okay, this is going to be a longer recovery process than what I thought. Because I had the 2 at the same time, it was taking a little bit longer to heal. But I did have my age, and obviously I was fit anyway, in my favour. So he said it shouldn't be too long recovery. I was looking at another like 3 to 4 months. But it ended up being around 10 months that I was out altogether, just because it just wasn't healing. And at the time I was working as a waitress, so I was on my feet 24/7 with constant pain down one side of my leg, similar pain to sciatica. It was similar symptoms. So the recovery just took longer than what it should have, really, which wasn't ideal, and I was really annoyed. And then when I eventually got back training, I couldn't even squat with a bar on my back without being in pain. So it was a long like rehab process to get back to where I was. And I would say it was only really the end of 2020/beginning of 21 where I was back training consistently, and it wasn't a case of like, you know, I do 2 weeks and then my back was hurting, so I needed a few days off. And then I was like, right, I've got to take this serious. I need to get myself a coach to get myself back to a position where I can train consistently and work towards my goals. So I got myself a coach, and that was going well, but it just wasn't right for me. And then made some changes, ended up just doing a lot of rehab on my own, and then it was like 2021 where I was really like, okay, I'm back, I'm ready to push hard. So it was like from mid 2019 to 2021 before I actually got back to a position where I could squat my body weight again and actually be in a position where I could push to get stronger. So that was really hard from the physical standpoint, in terms of I was in pain every day, but also like I just wanted to train and I couldn't, so that was really frustrating. But that was where I spent a lot of time then coaching instead, and working on my knowledge, improving all of that, because I couldn't train. I was learning about it instead. So there's a silver lining in everything that happens. I definitely wouldn't be coaching if I didn't. Well, I was coaching anyway at that point, I believe. No, maybe it was 2020 that I injured myself. I can't remember, it was so long ago. But I was just starting coaching at that point, but I really put a lot of time when I was injured into improving my knowledge. So I flew up then in terms of where I was as a coach, and I think that's a silver lining. I don't regret it. I'm in a good position now, and my body's back to normal. I don't suffer with my back anymore. I might get the odd day here and there where it's achy, which I know I'm always going to have, but generally I'm back to 100%. I'm excited, but I'm also scared at the same time, which I think is really, really normal. So yeah, the goals are to just continue building, helping as many women feel as body confident as they can, ditch the yo-yo dieting, feel good in themselves, know how to lose weight in a sustainable way, and just love training and being strong and appreciating what their body allows them to do. That's like question 3 and 4 together. Question 5, why did I get into online coaching? So, again, I think take it back a little. Before I was an online coach, I was a personal trainer. I started off in my second year of uni. I started part-time in a commercial gym in Swansea doing personal training. I had a handful of clients. I think I had like 5 or 6 clients that I was doing around my studies, because obviously I was in full-time uni. And I was enjoying that, but I wanted to do more. And then I went in partnership with someone and opened up a private personal training studio that I walked away from relatively quickly after opening. And then done my own garage out of home into a personal training like studio, into a mini gym where I was doing one-to-one sessions. So that was all throughout the process of 2nd and 3rd year of uni. I opened my home gym February the 10th, 2020. I will never forget it. So proud of myself. Put every penny of savings that I had left into the home gym, and I was like, this has got to work now because I've spent everything. I had a month of coaching, and then lockdown came and everything had to shut. So I was like, that's fine. It's only going to be a couple of weeks, you know, the same as everyone thought. I'll be back open in a few weeks, it'll be fine. And then lockdowns kept getting extended and extended, and here we are now, still, you know, going through the whole COVID mark. But I think it was like week 5 or 6 into things being shut where I was like, you know, like this might be a little bit longer than what I thought. This might not work. I'm probably not going to be able to train people from home for a long time. So I need to improvise, and I need to find a way to make things work, because I was still in 3rd year uni at this point. So I was doing my dissertation. So I wasn't working full time or anything. I had bills going out to the end of the month, and I was like, I need to cover my bills. Like, I don't have PT clients anymore. What am I going to do? So I went online. I offered, I believe, like 3 spaces with a month free, so that I could get some results, and I used those as well as my personal training results, and I just built up from there. And here I am now, full-time online. Never went back to training on the gym floor. Sold all of my gym equipment at home. Obviously bought and renovated a house in the meantime. So yeah, things have taken off and they've gone well, and it's been a crazy roller coaster. So many highs, lows and everything in between. But online started as a survival method for me because I had no other option with coaching. And I actually found that I enjoyed the online more than the in-person, because I could speak to my clients more. I could delve deeper into their issues, because it wasn't just the hour I had to talk to them. I had, you know, the whole week to go over things. So they were getting better results because I was able to help them more. And I was like, do you know what, actually, this is just a better approach for me and my clients. So why don't I really push this? And I did, and here we are, full-time online now, you know, a little over like 18 months later. Well, nearly 2 years now. April 13th, 2020 was the first client I took on online. So that's how I got into online coaching. And then I've got another question which is kind of similar. How did I become interested in training pre- or postnatal women? So this came from 2 things. Number 1, a lot of the women I was working with were going through trying to get pregnant, trying to conceive, to have a family, but they were like, oh, when I'm pregnant I've got to stop training. And I was like, no, training when you're pregnant is really good. But I couldn't coach them through it because I wasn't qualified. But also because I saw a lot of personal trainers and coaches coaching pregnant women and postnatal women that had no qualifications whatsoever and were giving them wrong advice that could potentially injure them. So I kind of put the 2 together, and it was like frustration from lack of knowledge from others, but also my girls were going through that journey and I was helping them conceive by becoming healthier. So why would I then not get a qualification so that I can help them through the pregnancy and through their postnatal journey to make their labour process as smooth as possible, aid their recovery post-labour, you know, speed the recovery process up as much as we could. So it was like kind of like a logical thing, but also something I really wanted to do, because I didn't want women to feel like they had no support and no one to turn to when they were pregnant, and I didn't want women to stop doing everything they were doing just because they were pregnant, because essentially that would be more negative than positive. So that was how and why I got into coaching pre and postnatal women. My next question is a funny one. Would you ever coach your boyfriend? Never again, let me tell you that much. So my boyfriend moved into my house in the lockdown in 2020 because I had the home gym. Obviously gym shut, he couldn't travel to my house to use the gym, so I was like, look, just move in if you want, you can use the gym with me, we can train together, whatever, that's fine. So I think he spent like 8 months in my house altogether. I think my mother wanted to strangle him by the end of it. They get on great, but they love to wind each other up. So yeah, he moved in with me for 8 months, and we had nothing to do other than train. So he was eating what I was eating, he was training with me, I was pushing him. He ended up losing 25 kilos in the lockdown over the space of like 7 or 8 months. So he done awesome, really, really well. But it was hard because he didn't listen to me. Everything I'd done, he told me I was wrong. And it took him a good like 3 months to be like, okay, like maybe you do know what you're talking about. And the food side of things was easier because we were living together and he wasn't going to work or any of that stuff because he was on furlough, so I could control everything he was doing, so it was really easy to get him results in that sense. But then when we went back to normal and gyms opened, I was half coaching him in the sense of like I would do his training plan for him and all of that stuff. But again, he'd just go, oh, I don't like this training plan, it's boring, I'm fed up, and you don't know what you're talking about. And I was like, I am not wasting my time giving you 5 different plans because you don't want to listen to me because I'm your girlfriend. And he'd moan, oh, I'm not dropping enough weight this week, and I'd be like, well, you didn't hit your steps every day and maybe you need to drop your calories, and he'd be like, no, I'm not doing that. And I said, oh, whatever, I give up. So I gave up training him, and for a little while he just kind of followed a training plan and done things on his own. And then when I got started with my coach, he was like, you're getting strong really fast, you're really enjoying training again, you're learning new things, I'd love to learn Olympic lifting. So he now has the same coach as me. So it's quite nice because our plan is built around each other, so we do a couple of sessions a week together, which is quite nice. So no, I would never coach him again. Having done it once, it was difficult enough. In the lockdown it wasn't so bad because I could control everything, but never again. You never listen to your partner, no matter how knowledgeable they are, you'll just push the buttons and try and get away with things. So not something I'd be doing again for a very long time. Question number 8. Why do some people weigh daily and others weekly? So daily weighing is going to be more accurate because we can work out a weekly average. Our body fluctuates every single day because of hundreds of different factors, but daily weighing allows us to understand how our body responds to different things, i.e. like if we go out for a meal and we see a spike in scale weight the next day, we can start to pick up patterns in our data. Weekly weigh-in is just like the very minimum you should be doing, purely because, for example, if you weigh every Monday but you went out for food on a Sunday evening for a family meal, you're going to weigh heavier the next morning because you had a big meal out. It's probably calorie dense, a lot more salt than normal, you're going to sit a little heavier on the scales. So if you only weigh Monday to Monday, you might actually be weighing more than what you did the week before. You've not put on any weight, you've not done anything wrong, but you went out for a meal the night before, so you're seeing a spike. So if you daily weigh, you can just account for those imbalances and work out an average to compare week to week. Question 9, do you ever want to give up on your diet? Yes or no? So I don't do a lot of dieting because I'm happy with the physique I'm in. I'm generally in a good place where I go for walks every day, I eat really well, I've logged calories long enough to know what my nutrition is like without strictly logging. So I tend to only really log calories and be strict when I'm in a dieting phase. So I don't want to give up because I know it's only ever short term for me. I'm only ever looking at like 8 to 16 week dieting phase maximum, and then I'm done and I'm back to being more flexible, not logging calories as strictly and all of that kind of stuff. So for me it's not too bad, but of course for a lot of people that you do want to give up from time to time. I'm currently in a dieting phase at the moment. I am going into week 7 of my diet now, of 12 to 16 weeks depending on how my body responds. My scale weight has not changed since I started dieting, but my physique has changed massively, so my body fat is dropping, even though scale weight hasn't. I do want scale weight to come down, so I'm making a few tweaks. But again, because of my knowledge and my experience, I can look at things from a rational standpoint and not freak out and think, scale weight hasn't gone down, so I want to give up. Like, I know my measurements and my body's changing, and for me that's the most important thing. But I am going to ramp things up a little so I can drop scale weight, because I want to drop maybe 3 to 5 kilos. So yeah, no, I don't find it too difficult, but if you're dieting for a long time, you will want to give up because you can't diet forever. Number 10, how can you get your other half on board with improving health and fitness? So this is a big problem a lot of my girls have. They do really well, and then their partner wants to join on a long while afterwards because their, you know, their girlfriend, their wife, whatever, has done amazing. But when you initially start, it's really hard to get your partner on board, purely because they don't want to make changes. If they did, they'd already be doing it. So it's kind of like someone going up to you and being like, you need to diet and lose 5 kilos. You'd be like, excuse me, who are you talking to? No, I don't. Like, don't tell me what I need to do. And it's kind of similar from a relationship standpoint. Just because you want to make changes, it doesn't mean your partner has to. However, when you start making changes and you start losing weight, feeling better, having more energy, enjoying training, your physique is changing, your partner's going to be like, oh my god, look at her, she's doing awesome, she's making really good progress, look at how I look compared to her, I need to do something about it. So you'll often find that a partner will follow on afterwards when you start doing really well, but you can't really make someone get started on the health and fitness journey unless they want to, because doing something for someone else is a lot harder to stick to than doing it for yourself because you want to do it. So that's a really tricky one. But I think if you've got a family and you've got kids, maybe something you might want to talk about and just discuss, like from a health perspective. You know, you want to be healthy for your family and to be able to run around with your children and your grandchildren, and that might be something that helps them get started. But I wouldn't force your partner into doing it because they're gonna rebel and they're gonna be like, I'm not doing this. Question 11, I'm nervous starting the gym, any hints or tips? So first things first, if you can, get yourself a coach. It makes such a big difference having someone there to take all the thinking out of it for you, give you everything you need to do so that you've just got to execute. And I don't just say that as a coach, be like, oh my god, join me. Even as a coach, I have my own coach, because it takes the thinking out of it for me. They're more knowledgeable than me on what I want to learn, and it just means it's one thing less for me to worry about. So like, I will always recommend having a coach. I think it's so beneficial. But equally, if you don't know what you're doing and you're really nervous, having someone say, these are the things you need to do, you're going to feel a lot more confident and you're going to feel a lot more at ease. That being said, there's 3 things I would say, whether you have a coach or not, that you can do to help with confidence. Number 1, get yourself a training plan to follow. Even if like you write up your own training plan, have the same training plan that you do, say you do a 3-day split, 4-day split, whatever it is. Know exactly what your sessions are when you go into that gym, so you are confident in saying, I've got squat, then I've got incline bench, then I've got whatever I've got, so I know what I'm doing. So you can just go in and be tunnel vision, I'm just going to the squat racks. Number 2 then would be, get yourself a bloody good playlist. Get some music on, whether you're walking to the gym, driving to the gym, that makes you feel good, has you excited, gets you pumped up, and have that gym list playing when you're in the gym as well. You're going to feel better, you can kind of like zone out from everyone else. 3rd thing then is, I would say, don't take being nervous as a bad thing. We all take nerves, you know, and when we're anxious, feeling a little bit of anxiety, fear, as negative emotions, but they're not, they're a positive thing. It means we're doing something we've never done before, we're stepping out of our comfort zone, we're making a change, and that's a positive thing. It's not bad to feel uncomfortable. There are so many situations I've been in where I felt uncomfortable, out of place, completely like I'm down here and the other people I'm around are up here. But that's good, because then I've got to get up to that level and I've got to progress. So definitely just don't take fear, worry, nerves as a negative thing. It's a positive emotion, provided we see it as an opportunity for growth. Question 12. We've only got 14, we're almost there. How to stop craving sweet stuff. This is a tough one, but there's a few things we can do. So number 1, if we're craving and we're snacking a lot, it's a sign from our body to say we're not full from the meals we're having. So we need to look at our meals and make sure we're getting enough protein in, we're getting enough fruit and veg in. If we get them in and we're feeling fuller, we're likely going to crave a lot less, we're going to snack a lot less. So that would be the first thing I'd say. The second thing then is, don't neglect yourself from the things you like. Don't give up sweets, don't give up chocolate, don't give up cake and all the foods you love, because you can have them in moderation. So whatever your calorie goal is, maybe leave 200 calories spare every day for you to be able to have a snack or some chocolate or whatever it is you want, so that you satisfy those cravings. But that will be more, particularly for women around your period, those cravings will be higher and they're going to be harder to get rid of. But if you are someone who craves every day, it's because you're not full enough from your meals. So the work needs to be done on your meals first to make sure you're full enough from them. 13 then, how are you so productive? I find this question really funny because I don't feel like I am. I've kind of established a routine now where it's just, things are just second nature to me. And I'm actually, at the moment, I've had really poor sleep the last month or two, which is unlike me. So I've been struggling with getting up in the mornings. I used to get up between 6 and 6:30, read my book, have a cup of tea in the morning. By 7 o'clock, I'd be out the door for a walk. I'd be home by 8 at the latest. Anywhere from like 30 minutes to an hour long walk. And then I'd be sat down doing work from 8 o'clock. I have my routine, I finish at X time, train at X time, go to bed at Y time, whatever it is. And I was really disciplined with that. But because my sleep has been suffering so much at the moment, I'm struggling with getting up in the morning. So I've now like pushed that a little later, and I get up at around 7, read my book, have my cup of tea, start work by 8 o'clock, and then I go for a walk like in the daytime. So I actually feel at the moment like I'm quite unproductive compared to what I'm usually used to. But I do get this a lot from a lot of people, and honestly, it doesn't come down to being motivated, it doesn't come down to being productive, it comes down to being disciplined. I have a routine every single day. Monday, this is what I'm doing. Tuesday, this is what I'm doing. Wednesday, this is what I'm doing. And I do it religiously. Like, I put a story on my Instagram last night about how I was out for a walk in the rain with like 5 layers on, like 3 hoods to keep me dry. And I was like, this is the reality of dieting. It's not about being motivated, it's not about looking forward to things. You're not always going to be excited and thinking this is the best thing in the world, but you get done anyway. Being disciplined takes a lot of time and a lot of hard work. So one thing I would start off with that I find really beneficial, and it's quite funny because it's right next to me now, is having a to-do list. I have these all of the time. So I'll just give you an example with mine here. My top 3 tasks: record my YouTube video, what I'm doing now, upload some videos onto Trainerize for my clients, and set up a new client. And then I've got a couple of smaller tasks: read, train, get my steps in, do a live in my Facebook group for my clients, and book my hotel for Manchester next week. So I have like my main work tasks I need to do, and then I have like some little things that I just need to get done today that aren't necessarily that important, but they need to be done. So I really find having a to-do list helps with productivity. But setting yourself a routine: get up at the same time every day, go to bed at the same time every day, walk the same time every day, do your training the same time every day. When you get really consistent with that, it is so much easier to be disciplined, and that is how I end up being productive, because I'm disciplined, not because I'm actually motivated. And the very last question that I've kept till last: what travel plans do you have this year? I'm really excited for this question because I have so many travel plans this year, it's actually crazy. Where are we now? We're February. January I went to Krakow, obviously I done the vlog of that. Next week I'm going to Manchester for a work meeting, so I'm going to vlog that too. Then March I'm going to New York with my mother, so I'll definitely be vlogging that one. Got Manchester in March, then I need to look at my calendar. Honestly, I have so much booked this year, it's crazy. Loads of things I booked for last year were cancelled and moved to this year, so I just feel like I'm away more than home. In April I think I'm going to... No, actually April's quite quiet. I've got my graduation, I haven't got too much booked for April yet. May I am in Belfast one weekend, and another weekend I'm away on a hen party. I think it's like Magaluf or somewhere like that. I don't even know where it is. I've booked, but I can't even remember where I'm going. So that's 2 different weekends in May. In June I don't have anything booked. I'm not going anywhere. I am going to see... I'm lying. I do have loads on in June. I've got a gig, I've got a wedding, and then I've got another gig, like 3 weekends on the bounce. So that'll be a fun month. And then July I've got a holiday to Greece. I'm going for a wedding, so I'm in Greece for a week, so that will be really nice. And then Christmas time, me and Sam have decided we're going to go to Dubai for New Year. So I think we're going to fly out Boxing Day and have a week out in Dubai, come home like New Year's Day, maybe the 2nd, something like that. So yeah, I've got millions on so far up until like August. I've got nothing from August to Christmas yet. I probably will end up doing something, no doubt, but at the moment I've got loads of trips and stuff booked, so I'm going to be vlogging a lot this year with all of my travels. But I'm really excited. I work really hard, so it's nice to be able to get away now and again. And even when I am away, I don't take time off, I still work. Like, I've got all of my weekend trips planned because Friday to Sunday are my quieter days of work. Like, whenever I'm away on check-in days, I'm going to be doing like 4 hours of work in the morning before I even do any sightseeing or anything like that. So yeah, it's going to be intense, but it's going to be fun, and that's what it's all about. The whole point of me being online is so that I have that freedom to go wherever I want to go, but not change anything with work. So now that things are starting to open up this year, I'm really excited for that, and I'm really looking forward to traveling the world, exploring and doing all of that stuff. I definitely think there's going to be a lot more travel on the cards for the next few years for me, that's for sure. Especially now that we've got the house, most of the house is done. We've got our gardens to do and some minor little things inside, but the big expense of renovating is done, so now I can really save hard for some holidays. So I'm looking forward to this year and getting away and enjoying myself and letting my hair down, and obviously bringing you all along on the journey with me. So that is the Q&A done. Nice long one today, just to cover all of the stuff. Hopefully some of those things give you a better insight into who I am, what I'm about, and like my sort of vision for the future, and just continue following along, and make sure you subscribe and feel free to like and comment if you've enjoyed.